Once again, welcome to the program. CRC Credit Bureau Limited is a private limited company that creates a mutually rewarding situation for both customers and lenders. Let's find out more about the organization. Credit reporting company CRC Credit Bureau Limited is a private limited liability company duly incorporated and licensed under the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was established by a consortium of 10 leading financial institutions and Dun & Bradstreet with the purpose of delivering credit bureau services in Nigeria. CRC Credit Bureau Limited provides nationwide information repository on credit profiles of corporate entities as well as consumers, thus improving the ability of credit providers to make informed lending decisions. It is the leading credit bureau company in Nigeria with credit information of over 95% of the Nigerian credit industry, covering commercial banks, non-bank institutions, retailers and utility service providers. The company is a fully licensed credit bureau operating in Nigeria with a tested and trusted credit bureau solution provided by Dun & Bradstreet, a world player with over 170 years of credit bureau experience. My chat with the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of CRC Credit Bureau Limited, Dr. Tunde Popoola, reveals more. What stands CRC Credit Bureau Limited out from the pack?
CRC Credit Bureau is the biggest credit bureau in Nigeria, owned by a consortium of 10 foremost commercial banks with Dun & Bradstreet, popularly called D&B. They are a credit solution provider with about 200 years of experience. So the first thing you discover is that we have the technology that others don't have. We ride on the technology and technical competence, supported by Dun & Bradstreet. And that makes us to be able to develop product and innovative services that give value to our customers that enable them to take informed decisions. The totality of what we do is about giving information to those who want to lend or grant credit. And so you need to be able to cover the market, and that's the second most important value that we add. We have covered about 95% of the industry when it comes to credit industry or lending industry, as the case may be. All the commercial banks, all the microfinance banks, leasing companies, investment banks, finance houses, all of them are members of CRC. They are customers. We have over 2,000 institutions submitting data to us and using our services every day. The third is our people. CRC prides itself as having the brightest in terms of skills, in terms of capacity, in terms of education, and in terms of customer service delivery. In terms of performance, CRC is on top. Balance sheet size, profitability, dividend payments, this is what shareholders want. They want the best of the returns, and we give this to them more than any of our peers.
How seriously does an organization like yours take corporate social responsibility?
Any serious-minded company that operates in an environment, it's important that you also give back to the environment. When we did our study, we discovered that there was no credit education for a lot of Nigerians. People run away from credit. Some go into credit and then they suffer from it because of the way the credit is packaged and all of that. So we did study all of this and now discovered that there is a need for us to do a lot of education about the concept of credit. What is responsible lending? What is responsible borrowing? Before December 2019, because 2020 was when this COVID started, and so all that we were doing, we've been doing since that time is virtual. But before then, we did have a lot of relationships with business management organizations and NGOs, where we go all out to talk to, entrepreneurs, retailers, and so on and so forth, on the importance of credit and how to get access to credit, and also how to borrow responsibly. We also try to see what we can do with the school children. And so we went into a partnership with Junior Achievers Nigeria, JAN, and developed a curriculum of how to really get credit education to secondary school children. That syllabus has been concluded, it's been approved between the two organizations. But then COVID came in and we are not able to disseminate. So once we are able to go out all again, we will go on to disseminate this to secondary schools in the country. Faith Foundation, they have Emerging Entrepreneurs Program, EEP, where whenever they have that program, we are there to give some support in terms of education to those entrepreneurs on the importance of credit, how they can access credit, what they should use credit for. We also have done it for non-export producers, and we had an award even for that. There are quite a lot of other institutions like the LCCI, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, and some other BMOs that we partner with. But the other thing that we emphasize on is repayment of credit, because that's what we come in as an organization. Our job is to have a database of all borrowers in the country, and people come here to look for borrowers' credit history. What have they done in the past? So we let them see if they don't service their credits, there is a tendency that they may not be able to enjoy credit in the future. And if they're going to enjoy in the future, it may be very expensive for them. We've partnered with Central Bank of Nigeria twice to organize webinars. The first one was on the Global Standard Instructions, GSI, that the CBN introduced. They introduced a scheme where if you borrow and you don't pay from a commercial bank, if you have deposit in any other bank, they can go to the deposit and debit you. So we organize a webinar with the CBN to be able to educate Nigerians on how to avoid going into that kind of trap and how they should responsibly behave when it comes to issue of repayment. Then of course we also have a partnership with them to deliver on intervention funds that are available in Nigeria. We did that with Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bank of Industry. We delivered a webinar. In each of these webinars, attendance was more than 1,000 people. So it is a lot of information that we are throwing out there, a lot of awareness creation that we are throwing out there. We did other ones like application of digitalization to access credit. We have a next webinar that is going to come up on April 7 or so. So we do all of this free of charge for Nigerians so that we don't get anybody to pay for all these services.
How well has technology helped your organization in data collection?
So with the kind of job that we do, we have to leverage on the highest level of technology to be able to run efficiently and effectively. When you collect data from over 2,000 institutions and you have about 30,000 users on your platform trying to look for data every day, then you have to get a very high level of technology sophistication to be able to do that. But beyond that is the fact that now that we have seen, so the first thing we do is that our processes are web enabled. In other words, that's why you don't see anybody here. But I can tell you, as we sit down here, around 30,000 people are on our website trying to get one information or the other, and it keeps on increasing every day. But what we have done, even much more beyond that, is to be able to leverage on APIs. So rather than an individual going to a website trying to look for information about Tunde Popoola, the machine does that. And what that has done for us and for our customers is that it enables them to process thousands of transactions every day. So you see a bank, lending or trying to find information about 10,000, 20,000 people every day. When credit bureau started over 400, 300 years ago, it was handwritten. They have to collect information manually from people.
There are lots of entrepreneurs who have these great ideas, but many of them also do not have capital to fund these ideas they have or projects they would like to do. How does your organization come in situations like this?
Okay, so this is a very interesting question. A research has been done on the impact of credit bureaus all over the world on access to credit for SMEs and startups and those who are already running their businesses. You know what they find out? That when a credit bureau is introduced into an economy, the ease of access to credit for SMEs, improves from 22% to 48%. And then the constraints that SMEs face when a bureau is in an economy, the constraint reduced completely from 40% to 28%. So there's a 22% efficiency that you see whenever a credit bureau like ours is in any economy. Virtually all banks in Nigeria have SME desks. Before the introduction of credit bureaus in Nigeria, hardly will you find any bank that will tell you they are lending to SMEs. But now they have credible information because they have this credit bureau. CRC is there. We are a database. We house all the borrowers in the past. So if an SME has never borrowed, they will know. Okay, without asking the SME, they will know from a third party, which is CRC. If they have borrowed in the past, they also will know.
You've been in business for over a decade. How do you intend to continue to add value to the society going forward?
All developed economies throughout the world, people in those economies, businesses in those economies rely on credit. So the first value is that we must have credible information that will support lenders generally so that they can develop new products. We've developed products that enable them to monitor the loans that they have granted. Okay, so they can know which one is performing, which one is going bad, and so on and so what we call portfolio monitoring. And then we've enabled them to have efficient collections management. When a loan is gone bad, then how do you collect? What we want to see in the future is a universal application of credit scores in Nigeria, so that when they search for Tunde Popoola, you are just looking for what's the credit score of Tunde Popoola, and you can determine whether you want to lend to him or not lend to him based on his credit scores. Credit scores are arrived at based on, credit worthiness, the repayment the repayment period, the number of loans you have taken, and so on and so forth. The credit score we currently develop relies on the credit information that we have in our database. The future, we want to develop scoring solution that is dependent on alternative data. Data not necessarily from credit information, because we discover that a lot of people have never borrowed. So if they have never borrowed and you are relying on credit information to generate their credit score, they won't have any scores. So we're looking for, we're developing a technology, a product that will rely on your text message, your emails, your social media presence, to be able to determine whether you are creditworthy or not. That's the future. In fact, it's not the future, it's the present. That's where we are today.
What you just said caught my attention. There's a very thin line between actually delving into people's privacy for information and what you as an organization is doing. How would you manage this?
Our job is to protect the information of everyone and to make sure that the information about you is used with your consent and for permissible purposes only.